Yeah, good morning. In the last class, we discussed the part one of unit one, that is introduction to the management. And the second part here in this is the evaluation of management thoughts. It means here we are going to understand what are the management theories and how management is evaluated from the pre-scientific management era to the modern management era. So in this four theories we are studying. One is in Fales principles of management. It is in Henry Fales 14 principle theory. And second thing is F.W. Tyler scientific management theory. And after that we talk regarding the Maslow's hierarchical need theory, and we talk regarding to the systems approach to the management. These three theories, four theories, we are going to be studying under the evaluation of the management thoughts or management theories. Let you see that if you see this chart, you'll understand that how the management thoughts are how the management thoughts are evaluated. Here, the entire management thought evaluation process is divided into the four parts. One is in the pre-scientific management era, classical era, neoclassical era, modern theory, modern management theories. These are all management thought evaluations or management theories. First, we'll start under the pre-scientific management era. Under the pre-scientific management era, we have this is happens before 18th century. Actually, in the mid of in the 18th century, we will understand that called pre-scientific management era, and before that it was there. So, what exactly the pre-scientific management area period is? It is in between between the 18th century, that is called before 1840. Here, under the pre-scientific management era, people are having some problems where organizations are not having any structure, and there is no appropriate mode of conducting an organization, managing of the people in the organization. So people will come and the task will be given daily basis, and people will do the task. In organization, there is no specialization where all the people will perform all sort of tasks. So and here they are not introduced to any sort of new technologies was not there, and they used to depend upon to the different environmental elements will be considered for taking decisions in the organizations. So when you see the pre-scientific management era, there are the different people are contributed towards of the development of management thoughts. Actually, in this era and in this period, people use Roman Catholic Church organizations for communication purpose. Usually in Roman Catholic churches, how they used to communicate to the people with a board or with the speeches, and with a board of write-ups, people used to communicate. The same method was adapted by the organization for a communication purpose, where they used to communicate with their employees and as well as with the outside people of the organization by using of communication mode, oral communication, and written communication on the boards onto the in the organization and outside the organization. They don't have an appropriate write-ups are not there, and they used to follow this Catholic Church, and one boss will used to communicate to the all others, and they used to follow another element is called military organizations, or people consider the military organization as a source for controlling or for conducting the business organizations. Here, military organizations, we are having what boss is, there is no top to bottom approach. There is no bottom to top approach. They used to have only the top to bottom approach. I mean to say that communication and controlling will come, or work signs, or work directions will come from the top. So people will has to accept that called military organization. What higher level said that called bottom line people is supposed to do. The top to bottom hierarchy is there. Bottom to top, we don't find any sort of communications. So this is what the military organization structures are taken, and they used to conduct the business organization. Whereas after that, in this Charles Babbage, they developed certain sort of Charles Babbage, James Watt, and other people. They developed some sort of mathematical tools for improving the organizational efficiency. So finally, we can say under the pre-scientific management era is we have a problem with proper communication mechanism was not there, proper organization structuring was not done, and people followed their own approach. There is no an unique approach. There is an individual organizational level approaches are there. People practice their own cognition, their own knowledge. They used to they use and they implemented in the organization to solve the different sort of problems. That was there into the pre-scientific management era. To avoid all these problems, to solve all these problems which are there into the pre-scientific management era, classical era was started. The classical era is characterized with it is there in between to the 1840 to the 1920 or 1930, 1840 to the 1930. Under the classical era, people started overcoming the problems which are there into the pre-scientific management era. So there is no technical organization structuring was not there, proper principles were not there, and people used to follow their own cognition, and the individual or independent approaches are there. But when you come to the classical era, under the classical era, people developed different organization designs and organization structures. Organization structuring was started, and goal determination was there for every individual in the organization. And not only that, they are basically concentrated on doing the things in a scientific manner or getting things in a scientific manner. Basically, it is an operational efficiency. Efficiency was the primary motto was in the classical theory. In the pre-scientific management era, we have the very less industrialization was there, where less number of people will work in the organizations. But in the classical era, by 1840 to the 1920, where we are having after the Second World War, people started producing more and more, where people started production higher levels, then they started inducting more number of people into the organization. Then it becomes the complexity for the organizations to sustain. To sustain, they need to manage the people well. To sustain well in the business scenario, in the business environment, they need to have in the good management practices and good management practice. They need to manage the people well. For that, organization structure become mandatory. It means in the organization structuring, we used to describe that who is responsible for what. No, organization structure, it is a hierarchy of the organization. It states the relationship between the different positions, and it is also describes the who is higher and who is lower in the who is a superior and who is a subordinate. That will be described by using of the organization structures. So in the classical theory, we identified that the organization started working with the organization structures, and goal-oriented directions, specializations were involved. Scientific way of thinking and doing was started into the classical era. This is what which we observed into the classical theories. I will explain some classical theories after this, but when you go to the next era, next period, that is called neoclassical theories. So what is the problem in the classical theory is most of the theories under the classical era is basically constructed to solve the organization structure problems. But while they're designing the organization structure and while they're incorporating the scientific methods, they concentrated on the process efficiency, but they have not considered the people into the consideration. So then the new thoughts was developed, that is called the neoclassical era was started. In the neoclassical era, that is what 1932, 1930 and 1930 to the 1980, 1930 to the 1980, neoclassical era was started. Under the neoclassical era, people concentrated on developing theories by the involvement of the human resources into the system. I mean, in organization system, people started giving the priority for the neoclassical people started giving the priority to the people involvement instead of the structure, instead of the goal, instead of the process. They started giving the importance for the people, and the neoclassical theories was started. The first theory under the neoclassical theory that called behavioral theories is a Hawthorne experiment. This is in one experimental theory which is proposed in the Elton Mewo in the Hawthorne plant. In the Hawthorne plant, it was done. And under the behavioral theories, we are having X theory, Y theory, Z theory, motivational theories, and these are all Maslow's hierarchical need theory. No, like so, there are some theories are there which basically emphasize on the importance of people and people view towards of the organizational efficiency. And after the neoclassical theory, we started the modern management era. What is the problem? The basic problem under the neoclassical theory and the neoclassical theories. Classical theories are emphasized only on the structure and process, and neoclassical theory given the more importance to the people. But there is a need of integration between the structure and people, process and the system. There is a need of integration between all these things. No, that was not there into the either classical era and the neoclassical era. That's why today we have in a modern management era. The modern management era, we give the importance for the interrelationship between the different components of the organization system. So for that, we take in some theories like systems approach theory and the contingency approach theory. The two are known as in the here we are having one more theory that called Mencken's S7 framework. But these are all the some theories which proposed at the modern era. So now we understood what is there in pre-scientific, classical, neoclassical, and modern theory. Let me see what some of the theories, some of the thoughts, prominent thoughts, which was proposed by the different authors towards of the development of the management discipline. Now, here the first theory we are talking on Henry Fayol's administrative management theory, or it is also known as the 14 principle theory of 14 principle theory of the management. So when you see here. Actually, Henry Fayol was born in the year 1841 in France, and he's graduated in mining engineering in 1960, and from the National Housing Company in the National School of Mining. He is graduated. After his graduation, he joined as an engineer in a French coal mine company. And after a couple of years, he was promoted as a manager into that company, and he was appointed as a general manager of his company in 1888. At that time, the company is suffering with heavy losses, and where they nearly to the bankrupt. The company is not able to maintain the institution well, and it is in bankrupt. It is in financially weak, and they are going to insolvent the company. But Henry Fayol succeeded. Henry Fayol made certain attempts in this as a general manager of that company, and he converted that company as a successful company from near bankruptcy to the sound financial position, and recorded profits and dividends for a longer period of time. So here what he did is, according to the Henry Fayol, organizations are having according to the Henry Fayol understood the basic problem of which was there into the Hawthorne plant. So what is in the Henry Fayol is identified in the Hawthorne plant, and he joined as in mining. He understood that the organizations are not having the structure. Organizations are failed because of lack of accountability and responsibility. And he also observed that organizational efficiency was obstructed by the organization structure. There is no organization structure, and organizational activities are also not divided, and people are doing the task what they are able to do, and they are not trained well. So Henry Fayol identified and Henry Fayol developed in some principles. Henry Fayol developed certain principles, and he conceptualized the organizational works. By conceptualizing the organizational works and by implementing the principles, the standard principles standard principles, then the organization become a successful organization and compared to the previous. While he is developing the 14 principle theory, he taken the help from his associates like Moni and Relay, Simon, Orbic, and Gillick. As these are all the people who supported Henry File in developing the Henry File management theory. And he divided the entire organizational activities, divided organizational activities and grouped them according to their functionality. And finally, he proposed a division of work in the organizations. In the organization, whatever the works are there, every division should be separate, people should be separate, and they need to adapt the certain sort of principles so that the organization will flourish. So for that, he divided the entire organization into the 6 groups as like a technical activity, commercial activity, financial activities, security activities, accounting activities, and managerial activities. If you see, the technical activities include like production, manufacturing, and adaptation comes under the technical activity. Commercial activities like buying, selling, and exchange comes under the commercial activity. Source and utilization of capital comes under the financial activities. Protection and property and persons comes security. Stock taking, balance sheet, cost, and statistics comes in accounting. Planning, organization, coordination, and controlling comes under the managerial activities. So when he divided the tasks of the organization, that's what we observed while we are discussing the functions of management. In the functions of management, I told you in the organizing function, organizing it is a process of dividing the entire work into the workable packages. Yes, now what Henry File did is Henry File divided the entire organizational activities into the workable packages like technical activities, commercial activities, financial activities, security, accounting, and managerial. And these activities are assigned to the individual positions into the organization. Then when it is divided, then the organizational task is becoming limited for the people. So all people may not concentrate on the entire thing. People who are related to that, they started concentrating on to that particular activities which they are responsible. Then organizational structuring was started from that particular point of onwards. So that that the concept of management of Henry File was the division of work and division of activities into the organization and structuring. And the second part, it comes under the he proposed the 14 principles. According to the Henry File, where organizations are following these 14 principles, then the organization is treated as a successful organization. It can improve the operational efficiency of the organization. When operational efficiency is increased, and automatically there will be a growth. I mean, the production will rise, and automatically market sales will rise. And the sales are rise, automatically financial capacity of the company also will increase. That's what, according to him, you need to implement these 14 principles into the organization. When we implement, the organizational efficiency will rise. So now we take what the 14 principles. One is a division of work. So according to him, to maximize the efficiency of productivity of an organization, we need to have division of work for the specialization. So I told 6 categories. According to the 6 categories, we need to have a division of work. Then the second principle is authority and responsibility. So according to the Henry File, we need to give the authority to the people who are responsible to that. And there are the 2 things we need to understand: authority and responsibility. What is authority and what is responsibility? The obligation to accomplish is called responsibility. Authority comes under the power. Authority is a right to give an order is called an authority. 2 things: authority and responsibility. Authority is giving an order to the people to do a task, and the responsibility is obligation of an individual to do the task. These are the 2 things: authority and responsibility. So according to him, in for every position into the organization must have authority and responsibility. They need to have a coexist each other. If you have authority, if you don't have responsibility, then that authority become waste and efficiency will come down. When we have only responsibility, no authority, then organizational may not perform. So we need to have the authority and responsibility as a complementarity and mutual interdependent, so that the people will take responsibility and followed by the authority, then tasks will be done efficiently. That is what another principle he proposed. Third principle is a discipline. According to the Henry Fayol, and according to the Fayol, an organization must have certain sort of rules and regulations and procedures. Every individual in the organization must be honored the rule and regulations. If there is any violation, indiscipline is not tolerated in the organizations. No organization cannot work without a discipline. Without a discipline, when they don't have the discipline, organization will not sustain for a longer period of time. So we need to develop the discipline in the organization by volunteer way. Everyone has to respect the rule. We need to make the people and educate them in that way. Voluntarily, if they accept that a discipline, and it will continues. For example, you take that wearing of a mask is a mandatory. Sanitizing of the hands is a mandatory. And no, what are the rules which we made, people are made that to be accepted. So when all are having their own voluntarily they accepted, then the efficiency will develop. Another point, another principle is that it's called unity of command. That is called two things we need to have: unity of command and unity of direction. Unity of command that indicate that every subordinate has to get only direction from one superior. That is called unity of command. Mean I should have only one boss. If you are having multiple bosses are there, and I may not perform well because they have their own perceptions and they have their own works, they have their own requirements. So one individual may not sustain with the number of bosses. So unity of command to be present into the organization means, and subordinate has to get a direction only from one superior. That is called unity of command. Unity of direction, and when all the members in the organization is needed to work together to accomplish the tasks. Whatever the tasks we are having, all the tasks should be accomplished in common. I mean, all the members in the organization must work together to accomplish the objective. Now, the directions to be unified for all, the same direction to be given. No, when we set a goal, all the group members must be tuned and triggered towards of attainment of that goal. And the next principle is emphasis on subordination of personal interest to the general or common interest. This is what we mostly understood in generally also. Mean organization having a goal, individuals will have a goal. When organization and individuals goals are same, both are same, then they will work efficiently. For that, we need to subordinate all the individual interests to the organizational interest. So there are 5 members are there in the group. All the 5 member goals are there with the organization. They all will be committed for the to perform or to achieve their goals. Finally, organizational goal also will achieve. So we need to make people what organization assume and what they assume must be the same. Then productivity will rise or efficiency can rise. Another element is remuneration. Yes, remuneration is one fundamental element. Rewarding is one fundamental element which impact onto the individual performance and their motivational level. For here, Henry Fayol proposed that employees work never to be exploited. Means exploitation of employee in any manner in the organization must be eliminated. A sound scheme of remuneration to be framed, both financially and non-financial incentives also. So when we give both financially and non-financial, reward and award what must be there, so that they will work for the organization and efficiency will rise. Another thing is centralization. Sir, this comes under the authority point of view. Sometime authority will be centralized, sometime authority will be decentralized. Centralization means authority concentration at one level is called centralization. Authority giving to all is called decentralization. Both centralization and decentralization is a heavy centralization and decentralization is a have an adverse effect onto the organization. That's why we need to maintain the balance between authority distribution as either be centralized or decentralized. It should have a balance between them. Another point it says that called scalar chain. So this is what the communication point of view. We found that there is a problem in the communication system in the pre-scientific management era. While what he said, you should have a clear hierarchy of a clear hierarchy to transmit the commands and communication to the party. We have a scalar chain will be there. For example, A to B, B to C, C to D, A to E, E to F, F to F to G. No, but if communication is going between to the D to G, if communication is going to the B to G, then it is wrong. Actually, it is communication has to come from the that called A to E, E to F, F to G only. So this is called communication in a hierarchical manner, and there should be authority also the similar. Authority also commands also should reach in a chain manner, one to one, boss to subordinate, subordinate to subordinate, subordinate to subordinate, as like that. So that called the systems of it is called a subsystem, system and subsystem approach we will maintain to the scalar chain. And we say order. This is another very important element to create a sound organization or efficient management. There should be a suggested order in place of everything. I mean, whatever the tasks we are going to be performing, for every task we should maintain an order of doing things. For every work, it not to be done by immediately. No, first priority and second priority, third priority, as like that primary and secondary priorities we need to make. We need to order the works. And another element, another principle he proposed that called equity. An organization must consist of inequality in all the between the people, and there must be any justice for all the things, for all the people in the organization. So then only an appropriate collaboration can be established. That's why we said McFarland definition also. McFarland, according to the McFarland, management is management is an he defines management as the management is what managers create, direct, maintain, and operate a purposeful organization through a systematic, coordinative, and cooperative human efforts. It means there must be when we have the equality, then the cooperation will be present. So organization for every individual must be treated equally. That's another concept. Sustainability of the tenure. This is another principle. Yes, when an individual is appointed in one workstation or workplace, we need to give some time to him. I mean, an appropriate time to be given, an adequate time span to be given to the employee to perform his tasks. If we doesn't provide the appropriate time to them, then to execute whatever thoughts they are having, then they may not achieve the target. For that, we need a prerequisite for that for every organization is a suitable tenure to be given, and at the tenure for the entire tenure, we need to give the free hand to the individual to perform their tasks. And finally, third 13 important point is spirit of cooperation. And this is called spirited decops. According to this principle, any organization which called as a sound organization, it depends upon the unity of, or union is a strength, or unity of strength. There is a need of cooperation between the members. There is need of a cooperation between the members, and they need to be unionized. That is what we call as a cohesiveness to be developed between the individuals in the organization. when they have a link with each other, I mean, they need to feel proud and pride, loyal. And when we are having the spirit decop unity was there, then automatically they will be loyal to that particular group. When the group is loyal, and the entire groups will be loyal to the organization, and the organizational task will be easily achieved by using of this when we present this principle in the organization. And last one is an initiativity. I mean, we need to have initiative. I mean, initiative is we need to provide an opportunity for every employee to make their own initiation. I mean, we need to give priority for the employees' creative thinking in getting things done or in doing things done in the organization. So for that, managerial planning and execution of pre-determined plans provides an opportunity for the employees to think creative way to get the job done in the organizations. So this is about this talk about the Henry Fayol 14 principle theory.